The following portion of Daytime Tri-Cities is sponsored by AFI, your financial North Star.
In these unsettled times, wouldn't it be nice to have some direction when it comes to planning your financial future? Well, this morning for Making Money Manageable, we want to welcome Justin Lester with AFI Advisors to Daytime with some guidance when it comes to getting on the right financial track in your life. It would be great if somebody would just, when we turned like 13, just hand us a manual to take care of the rest of our life financially, wouldn't it?
Right. Having a financial plan is key to success moving forward.
I mean, when we're younger, I think it actually starts when we're in our teens. We kind of get those first jobs and we start making some money, but what are some best practices for everyone when it comes to financial planning?
Sure, John, that's a great question. And so a couple of best practices would be budgeting and debt management. So budgeting, a good financial plan starts with that.
Right.
And so when you're doing your budget, you want to give every dollar a name. That way you're telling your money where to go instead of wondering where it went.
Kind of ruling your money, giving your money direction instead of letting it direct you.
Exactly. And so with debt management, that's really the key to building long-term wealth. So having debt, whether it be a car payment, student loan, credit card debt, is basically someone else has their name on your money.
Right.
And so a good way of paying off debt is to start with the smallest balance first and then move on to the next one and so on until you become debt-free.
And we talk about savings, and it's really easy to say, I need to put some money aside for savings, but for a lot of folks, putting that extra money aside is difficult. What are some of the different aspects of savings that we need to keep in mind?
Sure. So building off the budget, being disciplined by spending less than we make is going to be vital for saving for the future. So whether that is saving for an emergency fund, which we recommend 3 to 6 months of expenses, retirement savings, or even putting money away for kids' college. And so as we've seen kind of over the last 30 years, corporate America has shifted and moved away from providing pension plans for the retirees. And so that burden has now shifted to the employees to beef up their retirement savings. And so really what you kind of want to look at in doing that is having those that discipline and being smart with your money when it comes to saving for the future.
And if you are offered a 401k or an opportunity to invest in your future, you should take advantage of it.
Absolutely, at least up to the match, especially while you're working your way out of debt. That's basically free money. And so you're getting 100% return on whatever you put in.
And let's talk about insurance plans. You know, a lot of folks, they look at life insurance, they look at different types of insurance. What does insurance have to play? What role does it have to play in our financial planning?
Sure. So the role of insurance, and if we look at insurance by definition, is the transfer of risk.
Right.
Okay, so most people think about health insurance, and that's obvious, but you know, you want to consider long-term disability insurance, especially if you're the only one in the household with a job. And so purchasing adequate life insurance at term levels for 10 to 12 times your salary is a good rule of thumb to make sure that your loved ones are taken care of if you're not there anymore. And so also let's look at long-term care insurance. So long-term care and the cost have been skyrocketing. If you look at nursing homes or just in-home care, it's really grown exponentially. So having the right insurance in place helps transfer those risks onto the company instead of you taking on that burden.
And I know when a lot of companies, when they have open enrollment for insurance, it sometimes can get you bogged down a little bit with all the different options that you have there. But you need to go through there and make sure you're doing everything you can for you and especially for your family.
Absolutely. Health insurance is vital because if you look at having an emergency and you're not covered with health insurance, usually leads to bankruptcy. And so having that, like I said, transfer of risk onto the company and having that insurance in place will help help your family out.
And I was joking a little bit, turning 13 and everything, but when you get that first job, that first real job, you need to start making sure you're planning for your financial future, don't you?
Absolutely, and the younger you start,
right,
the better the outcome will be later on in life, especially if you can build great habits now.
Right. And it's building those habits, I think, that is the tough part. I mean, with all aspects of life is making good habits and sticking to them. It's difficult sometimes.
Absolutely. And so having an accountability partner would be great, whether or not that's your parent or your spouse or, a close friend, to help you stay accountable to your budget and making sure that you don't go off the rails.
All right. Justin Lester, we appreciate you stopping by today. Some great advice for all of us. It's AFI Advisors. They're located right there in Kingsport. They would love to hear from you. If you have questions about anything we talked about today, please give them a call at that number right there. Check out AFIadvisors.com as well.
The preceding portion of Daytime Tri-Cities is sponsored by AFI, your financial North Star.